it is you want to advance career or ENT. What is that? Okay. Thank you, Ashok. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the support. Um, over the week on Friday, we kind of did a kick off for the a future event series. It's called the Shift to the Fast Lane, Regenerative Work and 3-month rule. So in this event series, what we are trying to achieve is to have more visionaries who can decode the ongoing scenario of this immigrants visas related issue, and possibly try to find solutions that might work for all of us, where um, where we already know that Finland works for us. Uh, I've been I've been here for 20 years. I had a very good career. Worked with companies like Nokia and Tieto, and I started my own business for 10 years. We know Finland works for businesses, for entrepreneurs, immigrants. But in the changing times, we also know that Finland is a good place where Finland, for example, can adapt to the new changes and actually adapt to respond to the changes that's happening for immigrants. So this theme potentially is becoming more inclusive, having more people able to share their possibilities and perspectives, and how we can lead the future in presence of a policy like this. So who are we and why are we here? This has been organized as a slush side event, and as every startup, we're also a company, and we have an ask, and we did this slush side into our ask for the event was that we are in search of investors. We have one lead investor who wants to set up a new fund, and he has some resources. We will need more investors who could join the lead and join the fund. Then we're also looking for the digital transformation based sort of companies that are focused on digital transformation during this last time. So the focus on uh, digital transformation and IT services. So it's a kind of a unique combination that is evolving at this time. So IT services is not new. We all know what to expect from an IT services company, right? There's nothing really to invest in. It's been very straightforward, but we've seen a lot of decline in the progress of these companies in these changing times. This is where this kind of a digital transformation sort of comes in as a unique differentiator. This is the reason why we're kind of looking for a combination of companies that are combination of commitment they have. So who are we? We are Joppl. We're a digital transformation company ourselves, and but we've been like an activist VC. We've been acting like an activist VC with a satellite office for layoffs. This has been sort of a more a drive and passion for research and development to understand how to fix the rebooting companies. Um, have we been a venture capital ourselves? Do we have a fund ourselves? No, but maybe we are trying to be customer partners with companies or the venture capitalists, VCs who actually believe in creating that forward for the companies, and our research, our tools, our methods could probably will work well with these VC communities. So I think it is a we are positioned well in that sense that to have invested in several years on kind of a reform of workforce strategies and how work is generated, like, where do jobs come from, right? So this is basically a simple scenario we've been uh, trying to study, try to study trends. And we know that, we hear this all the time, that change is constant. But somehow, if you have closely followed, and of course we're all part of same game. We have seen COVID. We have a war type of scenarios evolving more. Life is in general becoming a little unstable. I wouldn't put it. That's a very strong word to say it, but um, these are the changes that we have to go through. So to be able to expect from futures that all the comforts of a past, at the work life, and things will be kind of a cool. I would say, I would want to actually say that we need to be more diligent at this time, and diligent meaning, we need to be more critically thinking. So recently we saw OpenAI, a ChatGPT, kind of revolutionized, the utility of AI in our daily lives. The
I personally, uh,
I I personally became a very good sort of user of ChatGPT. I see it somehow that it is in my life already, um, and somehow we see our world with AI, right? And now we talked about change, and like there's certain permanent changes happening in our world, and when we need new lenses to see that new world, new futures. For example, this new policy that we have in Finland, in the beginning it sounded like, oh, big no, big no. But if you get to the bottom of the things, I am personally, this is only my personal feeling, that is it something that we can stop? I have doubts. Maybe the program is real, the policy is real. Maybe we need to figure out how to learn to live with such policies and changing policies. But it takes a sort of it takes a kind of a biggest learning to reboot things from our home. And especially, if I see what is this kind of a negative, or kind of side effect, can I say, that AI is heavily invested. It's coming into our lives, and with a simple principle, it is changing our lives in a way that, innocent until proven guilty, guilty until proven innocent. This is where we probably will hit the balance of, how one good example I recently came across is this kind of a students when they are using AI at their work. For example, how unprepared we are for this fast change. So in a school, in the beginning, they all were very kind of welcoming this AI. They are also trying to figure out how to live with this kind of a, being a good student in their school. And there was this kind of a line, oh, okay, we all should actually adopt this and use AI or use ChatGPT, for example. So this conversation when happens, it's like, oh, okay, what do students think? You can utilize. So the one case is such that somebody used it, and then the assignment goes, and then they figured out that in an interview that, uh, by the way, the particular student actually has a history of 5 submissions on the same topic. The last submission has been like great, and this should be kind of discussed. They discussed. The end goal comes here is that, uh, ah in the discussion they figured out the utilization of ChatGPT has been used, and then as per their policy, that's comes on this kind of academic dishonesty, right? That they are not prepared. So this communications, right? When changes happen, policies come, or changes come, we interpret them, we apply them, we try to live with them. And I guess this is where where I feel that this is not. We need to do better. We need to understand. we need to understand how we can communicate these things, and on the same table, both student and the teachers, they discuss this scenario, and probably what they would have done well is to explain that your work cannot be the last step when you're submitting your work. So actually, the student was actually finding a new words. Rephrase is already, he created the data, he prepared four versions of it. The last step, he was trying to fix his words. I guess this need to be properly taken care in the future. So that is the role of communications when the world around us is changing, and speed of learning we have to do, and that itself has needs. We have needs, and we often lack references to these changes, because these are first changes, and there is no, the harsh part, is that we don't have a referee. So we are investing in the AI, we are investing in the change, we collectively want this change, but we have forgot to invest in the referee role. So why am I interested in this? How does this matter to us as a company? So personally, if I ask our journey, it's like there are few times we can wake up, right? When I was at work at Nokia, as a consultant, I saw something that I want to start a company, and the uh, key driver was how not to let go a layoff, like a crisis, go to waste, right? So that layoff was something, was kind of it has a magnitude. Nokia at the time had 4% GDP contribution. We don't have these events every day, but those layoffs and were, the intuition that I had was that it won't be the first one, it won't be the last one also. So this is a recurring layoff that was not portrayed, right? And the sustainability of the layoff as a solution, there's some missing pieces in that, and which I personally wanted to become interested, and I wanted to understand, learn, so that next time if I go into a company, so things like this happen, I have a button to press. I can have a way to contribute. But things were much more like sort of it was IWASH program that was going on. Nokia at that time had a very good program called Rich. Because I was an internal, I was an external, so it was not targeted for the externals. It happened to be a very beautiful program, but organizations, when they want to take care of people, even they can't stop layoffs. The cost of taking care is, the chain of care is very high. So not the Nokia's and Microsoft's, they can afford, they can handle, but maybe not all can afford. So there's room for innovation, there's room for research, there's room for rebuilding companies from the scratch. So that's kind of what, sort of kind of gave us a trigger, or a driver to work on such a cause. So I started a company, and why am I talking about this 3-month rule, right? I see similar magnitude. In between, what happened is that, of course, when you you can take a very big research question and start researching and start understanding, create new products, but somehow companies need to be sustainable, so revenue should be coming in. In between, we did with some consulting company, we did some consulting, we worked with companies like Kone and Nokia, Kone and Telia, and we constantly look for new customers there. But research and development is something that we are deeply passionate about, and we want to do, increase what we can do in those. So as I said, so these ongoing immigrants, this 3-month rule is it can have a similar magnitude, meaning it can have similar magnitude in, it's a multifaceted change, and if I because of my kind of research on related to the layoffs, I happen to have interacted with thousands of people who are in between transition, planning their transition change, and I see this every day, kind of their starting point, when and where they want to go, and what changes like this can actually bring into their daily life. So this capital island that we had to be, seems to be like one. By the way, I use the this AI to generate this image that where person the illustration here is this: the island has broken into pieces and the person fell into the kind of waters. So the four parts pillars in this is that um, strategic presence, thinking long term,
and continuation to supercharge the progress. Now, I guess this is the reality where we need to start thinking for when we think for solutions. And so, I'm also immigrant. So, who am I? Where do I come from? I, my both uh, my daughter and my son, they are here. So if I'm not an IT expert, if I'm not what I'm doing here, I would have been maybe a farmer. That's what my father was, and he also became sort of a government servant eventually. And I have a beautiful family. My wife, uh, she's a homemaker, but I guess she's sort of my pillar of strength. Uh, the our children. Um, this is basically what happens in our home on a given day. We we uh, we we uh, we fight as a family. I mean, we support each other, and we try to create. And today I make sure that my children will help me in this event. Um, the the event is streaming. The stream is actually handled by my son, and some of the arrangements have been handled by my um, my wife and daughter. So we have uncharted heroes in our lives as immigrants. We have distant families. My mother, master of none, but she's everywhere in our family. Um, my father, the master of universe. If he did his he has been a farmer. He has been a small businessman, also a government servant. He, he he changed jobs. He had several jobs, but CSRI is kind of one role out of all his roles. It's called Civil Supplies Revenue Inspector. Basically, what it means when you're in a government program, so he's one employee of many, um, his role is to make sure that distribution happens. The resources of the go to the right people who are actually in need. So all my life, I've seen people surrounded our home, people who actually are in need of certain things, and these are the people are my examples, my role models of how they lead with courage. Being a master of none, my mother with 4 children, um, every time there was a calamity, a flood, um, anything of a disaster, my father was by duty, my father was the first person to go out of the home. So being a homemaker, she's the one person, center of universe for our family, was trying to look after, and she was always in every calamity was sort of such a scenario that she was like vulnerable as a one mother, and probably there's no one around. Maybe she was living in a forest with the family, and father just left because something has happened. And maybe a strike, like a lightning strike happened, somebody died, accident happened, he had to leave, and she was just left alone with this little family. Yeah, that's the lead, the courage she had to gather. And she had it because she was, when she at the very young age, she lost her mother. And she knew how to survive, thrive, and in difficult conditions. And the Master of Universe actually was like moving all over the places. So what I take from this is that what I take as women, they are the ones. They are the real, they demo the courage. They that's what they do. I also have 3 sisters. They have always been my pillar of strength when I was growing up. The elder sister, she was always saying that help is wealth, right? Do stuff. This is where we need families. We need and these are the sacrifices we actually make when we we leave our homes and build a new homes in a new country. And my second sister, she always has been saying that better thinking will improve better life, right? So we always have values in our lives somehow, and I try to see when we are needed, we try to be there. And my youngest sister, she was like a rebel in her in her conservative family, right? And she will not be happy after this, but she was riding a bike, and you know, when she was young, and she was uh, well, something she went out of her comfort zone, and for our family, and they're all our role models. We value friendships, we value families, relationships. We have extended families. We try to build a kind of a, always try to build a safety nets or be a safety net and try to be there. And we always, why do it? We do it because we always want to try to extend this humanity what we are talking about. Try to see every opportunity to add something to it, right? We just saw how AI is bringing in kind of a new scenarios to us. And sometimes we are prepared, sometimes we are not. But these are the things, these are the kind of the common people, you and I, you know, our families, these we build that extension and try to bring a balance somewhere. So the theme for this weekend event is this: fund it, found it, and fund it. So as I explained, this event, as I explained, was that to also tell, kind of explain how we experience this tagline for Slush. So as a history of having someone figuring out new models of work from a layoff, already that was a very kind of a straightforward scenario to imagine a citizen accelerator for the event itself. The event is most popular as a Nokia burning platform, but somehow the intuition has been that the citizen accelerator was somehow the balance builder has been absent. We still think that it is absent. As a company, what we did is that we housed AI, we housed VR, digital, and became sort of center for the transformation. And that's our deep tech part. And this deep tech has no direct path, direct access. It's not easy to kind of how we know is because the conversations we can have with HRs, we can discuss with leaders, because it's a systemic change. We haven't been prepared. But what are the things we can do from here is that prepare our business, our environments to be more like civil, right? And build sort of a, here I'm using the CSR as like a data point or metaphor, right? To go and search for this kind of supplies we need, you know, and monetization, the role of monetization of jobs, you know, and reference to that inspector that I mentioned, you know, this academic dishonesty case in situation we have explained that we're investing on AI, but we are not investing in the referee. So we need to figure out a way to balance. Maybe the layoff learning model or our version of LLM was already evolving and unlocking for a long time, and our vision is to somehow figure out how do we match people in their careers, jobs, and how do we help the organizations to overcome the uncertainties. From a designer point of view, or you know, one of the simple solution was layoff is a service that requires redesign. What would be then a perfect layoff service for employees? Which means that we cannot stop the layoffs. We don't say we don't know to layoffs, but we try to turn it into a service. Layoff university means that current business model didn't work, therefore needs to be disrupted. At layoff university, people can learn about disruptive innovations, startups, and meet tutors that can somehow help them to make a first step into the bold new world. Virtual pitch, a place to practice and present own business ideas as well as own skills to join teams with fellow professionals, a social network for layoffs. A virtual co-working space, a platform to come up with a disruptive innovation and build a team of former colleagues or fellow layoffers to develop it into a business model. So maybe we were already the kind of elevator pitching company back then, and we were pitching for layoff service creation, and that deep tech has no direct access. So the question remains is that where do the research will fall short, because if you are if you are a research and if you are an R&D company that is preparing the workforce strategies, future trends, our research will be incomplete if we don't address where would these jobs getting created, right? That is the big part of the base, is that if there are not enough jobs, the job search will not be successful. And this is not a matchmaking problem. Very often I hear that we need more experts. We have somehow there is a matching issues or algorithm problem. This is not a job matching algorithm problem, right? There's more depth into this. We have seen one example where companies are becoming like a fractional companies, which means they're becoming cost centers. They're becoming half. The size of the companies, the headcount of the companies is coming down, and there is more and more. Sorry for the brief interruption. So we were actually introducing a book. Go find the book on Amazon. So buy it. This is from a good friend of mine, influencer of work, Sri Abhijit Bhavri. He had a long history and career with workforce transformation. He's presently situated in Microsoft, leading a large team in Redmond. So he came up with a new book called Career 3.0,
where he indicates these sort of three archetypes for emerging careers. How to think about careers, and essentially in the book he mentions there are three archetypes, and there is like a one skill, two skills, and three skills. The bottom line here is that figure out a way to monetize the skills you have, and try to grow your skills. Sorry. So one other illustration, I stole this image from his book. It actually somehow accurately illustrates in terms of sort of a skill development that is a part of our sort of emerging future careers, so being open-minded helps. And so where are we heading to our conversation about where we started? So Finland needs more immigrants, and what Finland is looking for is skill capital, right? So that's how the skills, like articulate your skills to understand and position those skills so that you become the demand, you stay in the demand, right? Finland, of course, our work in general now looking for people who have a high focus, right? So and they are people with new perspectives. They can engage in an action, so they can believe on an aspect and go about. So we call it leadership, right? So, and also people who can generate a referral, right? As immigrants, we generate referral for Finland. We go abroad, international. We tell that Finland is good, and come here and bring, pretty much. And a few other skills is that the how applying those skills in kind of more civil environments create more. Look at the Slush itself is like fostering entrepreneurship in Finland. Look at where they started in 2008, and for a small country in winter they had a couple of thousands of people flying into Finland and making it a world's best place for startups and entrepreneurship. So also people who can understand jobs to be done, right? So the job descriptions we see on LinkedIn may not resonate with the needs of the companies and what they are supposed to be doing next year in 2024 so that they become sustainable, right? To have a view and perspective on what probably are the needs and the seeds and weeds of the companies. So have a sense of competence, that judgment. Try to develop those skills.
VC thinking, right? Venture capitalist thinking. Think like a capitalist, think like an investor, act like a one, and always try to. As I gave this kind of academic dishonesty scenario, right? So you invited ChatGPT into your work, and for a very quick, very short time, you can become the path to become academically dishonest is very short. So there you need the referent, right? There is a new role emerging in terms of people, competences, skills, capitalists who can actually look at the role of and start become a referee to the consequence, right? Pretty much how we played with the layoffs. So in the book, he mentions that the ability to build an expertise from depth and breadth is going to be an important skill. I guess this is where our journey also personally started a few years ago. A lot of things, everybody knows about layoffs. Everybody equally doesn't know anything about how to reform the layoffs. And we actually hands-on experience how difficult it is to actually get something new and get something from people on this. Transfer of learning is a big problem, right? So skill 2, become storytellers. Don't just give information. Try to give, tell a story, because stories tend to stick. This kind of another leader that I follow is ex CEO who wrote a book called Employees First. Recently, he blogged about banana technology. What is this banana technology? He in his childhood he kind of always bought bananas from one vendor, and that always he actually had 2 bananas to choose from, and they looked the same, but he always, it seems, found the expensive one to buy. And one day he went back to the vendor and asked, "Why do you have same bananas but different prices?" Right? He gave this kind of an interesting story that I only gave bananas to you, but while giving the bananas to you, I also gave you a choice, and you picked the expensive choice. So very quickly, whether should you buy a banana or not, the problem has changed to kind of should I buy a banana or a B banana? So tell a story so that it sticks. 3, ability to teach online. I think this is something I have never done. I'm learning to do it, and of course I had some advisors' suggestions before that I should start doing it, but I never paid a lot of attention to it. But but I see that young generations, the Gen Z, is actually always online, and I think there are opportunities, tools. I think your role here is to create that opportunity so that you go and be there and available with your knowledge as a service. The ability to become a part of sort of multiple ecosystems. We looked at single skill, double skill, 3 skills. We actually came up with layoff ventures, layoff universities, citizen accelerator, multiple ecosystems we have named, and this is where this kind of parallel thinking and being in multiple places, creating your presence and leading your personal brand is the fifth one. It's like build your personal brand, invest in your personal brand, become a go-to for a change, for a skill, for problem solving. Take a stand, build your personal brand. 6, think like the venture capital. I think our path from CV to VC, I think it helped us in terms of exercising how creative we can be, how innovative we can be, how original we can be, how we can lead with courage, how we can stand tall, right? Being invested, right? So that's a positive change. So should we run lean? Should we run like a venture capital? So how does it articulate to our business, right? So on the top we see number of investments in Finnish startups in 2013, first half, from one of the venture capital associations. So you look at the number of look at the number of investments, how they're significantly dropped in startups, right? So running lean is sort of a science how you start a company, run a company, and go to market. This is running lean is quite popular. But as a company where we are we running lean? Maybe not. We're running like a venture capital. So our needs are like a venture capitalists, right? And what we invest in a portfolio. We have a portfolio of startups we have invested in. So investments go to direct to layoff, direct to immigration, direct to entrepreneurship. So 2020-24 is maybe the ideas whose time has come. And why we think so? That even sustainability we talk about a lot, stability, humanity, to take these key concepts forward, we see there are needs, there are seeds, and there are weeds in it. We should come forward, and these citizen accelerators are the ones who invest in that forward. So the title of this event was should we build a service line? Should we build a vendor lane? Should we build a fast lane for this kind of a 3-month rule as a solution, right? We saw how a service line, how we thought about a service line for layoffs, right? And vendor lane could be think about this kind of you're driving on the road and you see there is like a taxi, a lane reserved for the taxi, right? So the vendor, the role of a vendor could be significantly solving the access to the employee, to the kind of immigrants and their opportunities. So fast lane could address the digitalization, right? So being immigrants, we pay tax. It's a self-service. Why not digital diplomacy, right? Let's hope Finland learns, and we all bring our perspectives in and as a concluding line for myself, who we want to be is what I just also tried to do is I sold my layoff in a positive way, right? And as a company, we could handle this kind of mammoth tasks, and we would like to we try to design the compass as a company, and this is our personal sort of vision and mission for the company to be there and create the compass for our customer companies. Thank you. We'll be able to bring in sort of future some kind of a next follow-on topics and speakers. We already know the top 3 people who are probably will be in our future events. We're still working with them to figure out how to make it happen. The first one would be definitely on this kind of a speed of learning, and one of the topic is on the digitalization and AI and in the public sector, and the third one is more on entrepreneurship. So we still have work to do, and hope to come back to you with the future updates. Thank you. Adi Bhagyan